Coming at you. And here's our little dog, Sunny. He is the mascot of the studio. What's up, Sunny? Say what's up. Okay, so we're coming at you, and I just wanted to give you a little tour of the studio that we have here. It's a little messy. So basically, we got a Motif ES7 right here. I got it fully loaded with a gig of RAM. It takes forever to load, but it's in the studio, so I can wait. I got an iMac 21 inch, the new one, the 3.0 6 gig, and I got just a regular, what's this, a ViewSonic or whatever, a ProView from Walmart. So I got the double screens. I'm running Apple Logic and tons of plugins. So we'll go over the plugins later. Got everything padded around here. Here's the vocal room right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it right here, but here's the vocal room. I got a SE Electronics, and I'm rolling with a Rode NT2A on my for my microphone. All right, so these are padded. These are actually soundproof right here. This is what we figured out here. We just put these up here like that. Got the soundproof everywhere, and over here I got the Sonic ASR10. I don't use it much. I got a pretty good deal on it. It's fully loaded. I don't use it hardly, and I'm thinking about selling it, so I'm not sure. As you see the padding, and I got the Apogee Duet right here, which has awesome converters that I'm rolling with. I got a little 2.5 inch floppy drive right here. This is some backup stuff. This is for my video stuff. Got the wireless keyboard right here, wireless mouse for the iMac, and we're running. We got everything set up. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is playing backing tracks or stemming tracks. Okay, so how is that important in a church setting? Well, there are some times that well, currently on staff, I go to Majestic Life Church. In Orlando, Florida, where Pastor Reva Timms is the pastor, and we have basically a three-piece band. It's me. We got Todd Wilson, who is an awesome drummer. He was the drummer for Faith World at Clint Brown for the past 10 years. So he's been on all the albums and all the recordings and all the Judah Fest and stuff like that. So he's over there with us now. And then we got another cat named Lydell Tate. He is actually from Alabama, and so he's with us, and he's an awesome bass player, and you've seen him in the videos and stuff like that. So we got a three-piece. We don't have a lead guitar player. We don't have any horns. So the benefit of a backing track is that I can pre-track everything in my Logic right here, and it still sounds fat. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little something about now. The song we just did this past Sunday was called I Am Free. It's by this group called New Breed. And so what they do, they take current praise and worship songs and they flip them and they make them really fat. Go on iTunes right now and look for New Breed. They have some awesome, it's called The Sounds of the New Breed. They have an awesome assortment of, like, they take regular praise and worship songs, but they flip them and add all kinds of stuff to them, and they're really cool. So here's a little version of I Am Free. Right here. Now, what I did, I took the MP3 of I Am Free and dragged it right into my Logic. Okay? So let me show you something. Alright, let me show you this. I'm going to solo it here. And I have this plug-in called BPM Count. So what I do when I want to make a backing track, I put the original audio file in Logic and I use the BPM meter so that I can get the exact BPM of the song so that everything is on point. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, so let's back here. So right here you can see the BPM meter moving. And you gotta let it go for some time because you never know if it's gonna go up or not. Okay, so here we go. So now we see that the BPM looks at about 93.4. Well, it's a good marker, but it's not perfect. It comes real close. Now you have to use a little bit of common sense. Most people don't record their stuff on off BPMs. They usually choose 93 or 94. They're not going to be 93.4. So what I have to do, I have to go back to the BPM and actually reset it and start it again. And then you gotta let it go so it can get you something else. See how I got closer to 93.8? So I just rounded it up to 94, and as you can see, the BPM here is 94. So when I put on my click track, my metronome, so it's dead on. Now what you want to do, you don't want to test the metronome right here. Just to make sure you're safe, you want to test the metronome towards the end of the song, because that's where it's going to actually fall out of sync. So let's see. And as you can see, it's still on. So if you happen to be awesome where they start on the 1, when they start directly on the metronome, you can put it in there, and now you know the BPM, and so now you have a marker, and you can set it up so that you can start filling in the other stuff. Now what's the other stuff? Well, I don't have a horn section, so I want to put some horns. I don't have a guitar, so I want to put some guitars. I want to add the fatness to it so that it makes the sound full, it makes the praise and worship full. It's just huge, okay? So let me go over some of the, now I'm going to let you hear the track over the instruments I put with it, okay? I added this right here. It's a little Middle Eastern. I added that guitar right there. Now, do you see how easy it is? I can track this whole entire song on an exactly just like the CD. So what the benefit of that is, my wife is praise and worship leader. Hey, babe. She's praise and worship leader. So all I have to do is tell wifey is learn the song exactly like the CD. If you learn it exactly like that, then there's no questions. If I tell my musicians, learn it exactly like the CD, because it's going to be like that. Everybody's on one accord, and we know that all the hits and licks are going to be cool. All right, so let me go over some of the instrument sounds that I have here, okay? For this rock guitar, I used actually my motif guitar. It was called the Blood. The Blood. No, it's called the. I think it's called the Blood. Let me look for it. Category guitar. If you can zoom in here so they can see this. Electric guitar. I think it's called, nope, not Baby, Overdrive, oh, it's called Drive, I'm sorry. It's called Drive. So that's what I used, actually. Let me see if it can still. Now, the key to any type of recording, performance, or anything to make you sound good is layering. If you underlayer, it sounds weak. If you overlayer, it sounds muddy. So a good rule of thumb is 2. Alright? So the other guitar that I used is right here, and it is a sonic synth guitar. And what's the name of this patch? May Fuzzy something. May Fuzzy. So look for May Fuzzy if you have IK Multimedia sample tape. So I layered both guitars and played exactly the same thing through MIDI. Okay, so that gives you a nice layer. Now, I added another guitar from Sonic Synth through Sample Tank. By the way, I have all of Sample Tank stuff. They just had a sale where you can buy one and get every single thing free. So I got everything free and it's awesome. Sample Tank, Sonic Synth especially. Sonic Synth 2 is off the hook. It's like a Rompler and it has a lot of stuff. So I used Funky Ma'am. So what I did here, I added little extra guitar parts. So let's hear. So that's what I added right there. Now for this Middle Eastern type sound, which is pretty cool right here, I used the EXS, and that's called Chinese Guzheng Zither. And the cool thing about it, when you play this, watch this. Here's the Middle Eastern. In case you didn't know, here's the Middle Eastern scale that everybody's kind of starting to implement in the R&B and even gospel. It's called a Middle Eastern scale. The key you're going to be in is going to be like E minor, but you kind of play this. You see that? That's why I like the sound. If you hit it hard, it goes. So it's A flat, A, B, C, D, back to C. So D, C, B, A flat, F, E, D. So it's so you skip the G in this scale, so it's and then I usually like to resolve back to the A flat. Or so that's how that scale works. So when you hit it hard, it's it's kind of cool. So that's on the so the next sound are the hits. These hits are very important, and the benefit of these hits is they're right on your Motif ES. And a lot of people don't know where to find these hits from. And it's in the... Alright, let me find this hit for you. Here's the orchestra hit. Now, I made this myself, and it's layered with the orchestra hit on User 2, User Bank 2, H07. Okay, and so the orchestra hit is actually in the in your wave ROM. Okay, the next thing I used was the preset 3A14, which is the Spica lines. It kind of gives you that. Let me see if I can. It's the Spica lines strings, and the next one was a hard bowstring. So let you hear these by themselves, okay? All right, here's just the hit, and then I layered it with this right here, with the hard bows. You layer both of these together, you got a nice hit. And you layer with that hit and you're all done. So that's where I get my fat hits from, alright? So then I even layered the hits a little more with my Philharmonic. I got Sample Tank Miroslav, so I layered it. kind of big there, okay? So it gives you this big feel, all right? So I layered everything, and I basically just went here, and as you can see, I tracked out every single thing on here on beat because I have the original track right there, okay? So now my drums, here's my drums. Let me go over my drums. My drums came from, these are samples. I didn't do these drums myself. Sometimes I do my drums, sometimes I find one. So I used Nova Loops. Nova Loops is they got some nice loops. And so if you start to notice that R&B and gospel and everything are starting to be on the same level as far as tracks, as far as the same thing. So if you get some if you get the Nova Loops or you get some Big Fish audio stuff, you will be able to use those as click tracks. Now, the most important thing on a click track for a drummer is the cymbals, because the purpose of the click track is really to keep the drummer on, okay? So let me solo this, see if I can just play. Let me see here. Now the loudest part I made out of everything is these shakers right here. And these shakers right here. Because the shakers and the cymbals and the tambourines are the things that the drummer usually wants to hear the most to keep him on beat. You want a minimum amount of kick and you want a minimum amount of snare, because the drummer's the one that's going to hit the snares. Now, one thing you can do, which I did in this track, is I added the claps. The claps are consistent because they kind of mimic what you would normally do in church. See what I'm saying? So claps, auxiliaries like cowbells and chimes, tambourines, shakers, those are all fine. Limit your kick and limit your snare, because that's what the drummer is going to be using, okay? Alright, so I pretty much did the whole track. I tracked everything out, and so what's left in the track not to play is the bass part and the key part, which I layer with some more horns just to make it super fat. Now, just to add a little more flow to it, we, at the end of the track, we flowed out of this and we flowed into something more worshipful, and I'll show you what we did at the end of the track here. So here we go. I must have soloed something. Alright, let's take these solos off in Apple Logic. So we went a little further. So the song is I Am Free. So what we did, we took it out of a fast I Am Free and we went it into, what's that dude's name? Something James, Freedom. Eddie James. We went to Eddie James Freedom and we went a slow version. I played some synths right here. What's one of my synths? I used the ES2. I used the ES. Oh no, this is Sonic. This is Sonic Synth Motion City. Let me let you hear how this sounds right here. Now that piano is layered. That piano is layered with something else, but Now, this is my motto, okay? This is my issue with gospel music. My issue with gospel music sometimes is gospel music sometimes tends to be very whack. And it tends to be not current with the level of musicianship that is out there in R&B with the Ushers and the Rihanna and stuff like that. So what I always want to do during praise and worship, yes, we worshiping God and it doesn't really matter because it's all about your heart. But at the same time, I want to stay on the same musicianship as anybody else. Like if somebody came to our church and they heard our music, they would be like, wow, that musical level is on the same level as what I hear on the radio. So what's going on in contemporary music right now is pop anthems, right? So pop anthems has a lot of synth sounds. And one of the synth sounds that I love from Sonic Synth 2 is Motion City. We're in the key of E, by the way. And so I layered it with another one that's really nice right here. And let me... Now this synth sound is, if you go to motivator.com, I got this from the Dance expansion that I loaded the samples into this, and that thing is crazy, and this pad is ridiculous. So when you layer both of them. Alright, so let's play it all. Now what I do, now we're playing this live, so what I do, I come in with my piano, and I play solo over that. So Now what happens here is you have to, when you're a musician, you have to begin to emulate the feel of the song. Like for example, this song does not require me to do crazy jazz licks and stuff. This song requires me to, if you listen to the pads and we're talking about freedom, the song requires me to meditate. It requires me to meditate. So the meditation type of soloing is just my fault. You don't want to add no crazy. So you don't want to start adding that. You don't want to add that stuff. You just want to keep it. You can do your solos and everything. Or you can just keep it as pretty as possible. So we added this extra part. And so because I don't know how long we're gonna flow into it, I just took this joker and looped it all the way out. And so you would say, what happens, Jamal, at the end if you loop it? Well, if we singing this song this long, chances are everybody is tapped into the anointing anyway. And so at the same time, though, remember, we can play full, so we fade this out and then the musicians still play, and I still play the pads and stuff like that. So I just use the volume, fade it out, turn it off, and so we're good. So that's showing you an example of the benefits of playing backing tracks. Let me show you one track we did right here. We actually did we did "Watch Me" with Dietrich Haddon. I think it was Demita Haddon. No, it was Dietrich. Demita. Yeah, Demita sang this one. And so we did "Watch Me." That was another one we did. And I layered tons of horns on this baby. So let me see. Alright, so we did this. This was amazing when we did this Sunday. This is about 2 weeks ago. Now let me show you one trick here. This little funk Strat guitar, I'm using Sonic Synth again, which is just crazy. I'm using the Strat. It says Stratocast. Now, we are in the key of F sharp, okay? F sharp minor, funky F sharp. So we're in the key of F sharp minor. So on that guitar, let me just show you a trick here. Now what you do is you hold the sustain pedal down and you play the A and the E flat tritone. So it kind of sounds like a Strat, even though you're not playing the guitar. You can kind of. So you play that so you play that Strat like that. So rule of thumb is if you're in the key of G flat and you're playing funky and you want to play that Strat tritone, you go down 1, 2, 3 3 semitones, 1, 2, 3 down to the E flat, and you form the tritone. So that's what happens there. You just hold that sustain pedal down and just. So there we go. So we track. So that's just wanted to show an example of really just taking your praise and worship to the next level. It's about musicianship, and I believe that the more you show God of the musicianship that you're using, the more glory He gets, because what you're telling the Lord is, I'm utilizing everything you gave me. Like there was some that were given this amount of talents, 5 talents, 10 talents, this amount of talents, and so what you're saying is I'm using everything to my disposal. I'm using my logic, I'm using my virtual instruments, I'm using my samples, and I'm giving it all to you in praise and worship. So, and what that does, that makes you a better musician, because it stretches yourself and allows you to do things extra. And then if you don't have a drummer, track your stuff out, man. You don't have time messing around with a drummer who wants too much money. He's not dedicated. You track this out yourself. Play a Moog bass and you done. You got using the praise and worship, and y'all got good church. You know what I mean? So that's just wanted to show you how to use backing tracks in the church combination. If you got any questions, write the questions down. Ask me about plugins, ask me about anything, and I will answer. So I appreciate this. Wanted to do this quick video for you, and God bless.